Greetings everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of Some Bond Geek Talks About with me, your host, the name Stevens, Henry Stevens. Everybody, how'd you do? Hope you're well, hope you're enjoying a good Bond film, a good Bond book, good Bond video game, a good James Bond, whatever makes you part of this glorious fandom, the James Bond community. Everybody, I salute you. And today, we're going to do another What If in my show. And we're going to talk about how I would remake Quantum of Solace, because honestly everybody, if you've seen my Quantum of Solace review that came out earlier this week at the time of recording this, I really don't like that film. For me, it's like one of the utter pinnacles of a wasted opportunity in the Bond franchise. And it just annoys me. I think there's a really great story in it, but it's not being utilised, and just so many wrong decisions in that film. But we'll get into this in more detail, everybody. Before we get into it, can I just ask, let me very quickly, less than 30 seconds, do my quick little house cleaning, everybody. Can I ask you please to like and comment and subscribe to the channel, please? Click the notification bell icon to see future updates, because on this channel, we not only do have reviews, we have the editorials, such as the What Ifs, we have top 10s, we have trailer reactions, we have, basically, if you're a Bond fan, we have something for you here, and we're proud to welcome you all here, everybody. So thank you, as always, from me to you for coming on here and actually being part of the show. You really are. So, everybody, as I said, Quantum of Solace. You know my thoughts about it. Now, first off, I want to make some stuff very clear going into this What If, okay? I'm not going to completely change history here. You know, it's not suddenly going to have Mark Forster not directing. It's suddenly not going to have Daniel Craig in it anymore or anything like that, okay? The structure of Quantum of Solace is going to remain the same, everybody. It's still going to be, you know, in Bolivia, you know, the desert, you know, things that happen in the film, you sort of there happen now. We're just going to have tweaks and adjustments from what, in my opinion, would be a better film. And I want to stress that again, everybody. This version of Quantum of Solace I'm going to present to you right now, it really is sort of what I think it would make a better film. I'm not saying that factually it would make it a better film, but please comment down below and tell me what you think about it and come up with your versions of Quantum of Solace, what you think. Now, going into that, a couple of things again to add to that. First thing I'm going to change is the running time of the film. This film was one of the quickest at about just over an hour and a half. I'm changing the runtime of this film to 2 hours and 10 minutes. Why, you ask? I will tell you. Once you remove all the bloody annoying and crap shaky cam and quick editing, you'll find the narrative flows just naturally to 2 hours 10 minutes. The action sequences all in this film will have a much more narrative structure. You can see what's going on, and they'll be a bit more expanded out, not just quickly rushed over and get out the way. That, you know, that's one of the many reasons it's now going to be 2 hours 10 minutes. I'm also trying to say that I want to keep my version of Quantum of Solace more of a really direct sequel to Casino Royale, because that's what it'll set up to be, and I think there is a bit more of a stronger connection you can get between them. So, first thing I'm going to change, everybody, is the opening. Now, the opening, in my opinion, Bond became Bond at the end of Casino Royale, so there's no reason why it shouldn't have the Gunbarell at the beginning. But I'm going to change that up a little bit as well, actually, here. In my mind, I think that the film should open with the last shots again of Casino Royale, you know, with at the nice mansion and Bond shooting Mr. White, then going into a gun barrel, then into the movie. Now, someone has already actually done this online, and I reached out to him to give you a demonstration of exactly what I think. This guy called Wes Casey Productions. Now, he has a really great YouTube channel, everybody. I really strongly recommend it. And he has actually made, previously, before doing this video, exactly how I think this Bond film should start. So without further ado, I'd like to present to you now his version opening of Quantum of Solace, which I also 100% agree with. Enjoy.
Who is this?
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Way to Die by Alicia Keys and Jack White. I'm sorry, if you see my review of Quantum of Solace, you know, for me, that song is the worst in the whole franchise. It's awful. And there's this really great song that they didn't use, which I probably because the singer isn't so well known, but it's called Forever I'm Yours. I listen to it a lot. I have it on my Bond soundtrack playlist. I think it's such a much better song to go with Quantum of Solace. Just have a listen right now to it with the Quantum of Solace titles.
There anywhere I would lie inside, stripped of your armor tonight, no soul left to salvage anymore, no heart left to break me like before. Forever
Following on from that, you've still got Mr. White being interrogated by Bond, which leads into the eventual understanding that Mitchell, because you must know Mitchell, everyone knows Mitchell, how come you don't know Mitchell, is actually a member of Quantum, and the whole chase sequence between Bond and him, just obviously, as I say, remove shaky cam and quick cutting and actually have a more of a narrative, longer flow and more interesting and depth. At this point, I'd actually think I'd like to say that in one of the big changes I'm making to the film is actually there is no longer a Dominic Green character. I'm removing Dominic Green from the movie. I just don't think he's a very good villain. I think he's very weak. And to be honest, one of the things you got to do in a movie series like this, and they did it in the 60s as well, is you have to go up the pecking chain. Each time there's a new film with some, a new organisation, you've got to go up the pecking chain. So for me, I'm actually making a bit of a thing here. The new bad guy in Quantum of Solace is actually Mr. White. Mr. White is the main villain now in Quantum of Solace. But for some of you asking, well, Henry, what about if Bond killed him at the end of Quantum of Solace, how could he be Inspector? Who said that Mr. White had to die at the end of Quantum of Solace? No, he could escape like good old Blofeld, which I think, to me, is a much better idea for the film. In my mind, having Mr. White as the main central villain in Quantum of Solace perfectly more follows direct sequel from Casino Royale, because you had that lovely ending bit at Casino with him there, the interrogation here, and then Bond keeps meeting him throughout the film, and just, Mr. White just keeps playing with him and taunting him about Vesper and all sorts of other things, meanwhile trying to run his section of Quantum. And on that note, everybody, I've got to talk about Quantum. Now, there's nothing wrong with the Quantum organisation. There really isn't. However, they only really named it Quantum just because of the title Quantum of Solace. I think it would have been much better, and in my version of Quantum of Solace, you would just keep the organisation's name a mystery. You could say in natural set that could then flow more quickly into Spectre and solve that problem. But to me, just forgetting all about Spectre right now, the whole just keeping this organisation a mystery, I think in this film really would add a lot more tenseness. Like, who are these people? I don't even know who they are really, yet, just every time I turn, they're always like 3 steps ahead. That I think could be really, really cool. Carrying on from that, the Opera House sequence will remain exactly the same, except maybe actually the only thing I might add, and I say might add, is a bit more banter between Bond and Mr. White while they're both trying to escape a bit. But that I think that really, really does well. And then obviously from there, we're going into meeting Mathis. Now, I'm going to say right at the beginning, Mathis in this film is not going to die. He is not going to die. I do not like that whole bit of the trash dump stuff. I don't want to say trash, I'm an Englishman. The extra large rubbish bin. I don't think he should die. He shouldn't die in this film. And on that note, everybody, the bit after he's met Mathis and got him on the plane, and they're having that little chat in the sort of bar in the airplane. This is where, in the moment in the film, Mathis talks to Bond about a friend of his, and basically he tells the Quantum of Solace story about the measure of comfort between the couple as a sort of way of thinking. You've got to find a way to live with it. You've got to sort of talk about this. You've got to get you've got to find a measure of comfort in your life to move on. To plant that idea and that seed into James Bond here, I think that's a much better way of sort of connecting the title Quantum of Solace into this movie. Forget the organisation. Actually talking about finding a measure of comfort and bringing it into the script. And Mathis, brilliantly, actually, is the best person to do it in the franchise. He really is, and in this movie. And it would work so well. It could just be one of those things lingering in the background in Bond's mind, I suppose, a measure of comfort. Because one thing he can do as well is he can talk about it a bit with Camille. The bit... and I'll talk a bit with Camille, but, he can talk to her a bit about, when she wants revenge. A friend of mine said you've got to find a measure of comfort, a quantum of solace. Can you do it? And he goes... I don't know how I feel about her. Do I want to avenge her? Can I live with this? It all much more, I think, blends together so well. And this is going on now to the next thing about it. I'm tweaking the villain's plot here. Now, in keeping my rules, it's still got to be control Bolivia's water supply. That is still the same. However, instead of just doing it so they can charge $2 instead of $1 for their water, Mr. White is going to use Bolivia's water supply and then institute a new government with General Medrano to actually, for this organisation, to control Bolivia. Not just to ransom it or stuff like that. He's actually going to control Bolivia and use his exports for the organisation's own profit. That, to me, is a much more Bondian villain here. This organisation is, basically blackmailing an entire country and taking control of Bolivia. That to me is much more Bondian and I think much more exciting, and I think raises the stakes so much. I talked a bit about Mr. White and Camille here. Let me just go into a bit more detail about them. Camille is going to remain exactly the same. I really like Camille in the film, and I just think a bit more interaction with it is really, really good. We're now going to go into the party, the Green Planet party, which now will just be Mr. White holding a party and again, sort of taunting Bond, saying, you've tried to get me before. You can't stop the organisation. You'll learn over time. You're still young. What you can do. And just, all that love, a bit of banter that was nice in the actual film, you can bring over to Mr. White. And I just think it'll be really interesting because this is a character, Bond just wants to snap his neck, but every time he just can't. I think turning the main villain to Mr. White in this film is just an added bonus. And I haven't talked much about Agent Fields here. But essentially, Strawberry Fields, I think, is still underrated. Unfortunately, in this script, she would still be underused. But the big change I'm going to have, instead of Mathis in the dumpster, you're going to find Agent Fields there. And, with the warning, basically she gets taken away for the party, accidentally gets... somehow gets lost away from Bond, and they kill her and throw in the dumpster as another warning when Bond leaves the party and sees that. I think that could be another really good sort of little menacing darkness to the film. I think would be really cool. Now, the hotel will still be the same way. Bond will kill Medrano. White will be there, but he'll escape and all that stuff. They won't really they'll have a sort of shootout fight sequence, maybe not really with axe. I can't see Jeff Christian really doing that, but he'll get away. But in the end. But let's just get to the end now here, because this is where another big change I'd like to put in. At the end, Bond obviously returns to M and Mathis, after you found Vesper's boyfriend, because you have to have that a bit, though it's a bit pointless. And then, M saying, is he alive? I was surprised, all that stuff. and then just walking away. And literally, Mathis is there with it's all, going, she says, Bond, I need you back. I never left. And he looks to Mathis, said, I found my solace. And then just walks away. See, the Quantum of Solace connects throughout the film, everybody. It's all there, and I think really just looking at that all together, just my little ideas, I think that would make a much more interesting and better version of Quantum of Solace. But I want to know what you think. Do you disagree with me? I hope you do. Some of you do, because that's the whole point of having good debates and discussions. Do you agree with me? Whatever it is, everybody, comment down below and tell me what you think about this idea for Quantum of Solace. As always, everybody, my name's Henry Stevens. This has been some Bond Geek Talks About. Good.